with the front pages of the papers this morning. Starting off with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with Rivers, 5 killed, local government headquarters set ablaze, chairmen chased out. Rider says as Tinubu directs police to provide local government officers security. Says a burning of council facilities, act of irresponsibility, and that's come from Fubara. Tells Wike you can't win all fights. Inspect Ikwere local government secretariat. Police mom over attacks. IGP withdraws personnel. Crisis may have security implications on Nigeria, and that's coming from Bode George. Labour Party vows to challenge polls in court. Clark hails Tinubu. Fubara on peaceful local government polls. Stakeholders condemn violence killing in Rivers. Action barbaric cowardice, says Emeka Bike. Work resume in all secretariats. APP chair. Victims of attack, says Pro-Wike APC. On page 20, Autonomy, don't give workers' salary to local government, and that's coming from Labour. That's the beg of federal government. Can Confederation Cup, Eyimba gets tough Egyptian draw. Tinubu committed to food security, and that's coming from Vice President Shetima. Of course, you can see a photo story showing the arson at Rivers local government area. Federal government, NNPCL, Dangote plan change in petrol lifting, and that's that's an investigative report. Edo Guber, PDP accuses INEC of doctoring BVAS, concealing rigging. Court reduces bail to 5 million naira for hashtag end bad governance protesters each. And lastly, on the front page of Vanguard, malnutrition. Federal government can World Bank unites to save 11 million children. We'll take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with Naira for crude. Federal government panel proposes 6-month supply for Dangote refinery. Rider says refinery to get 24 million barrels in 2 months. Fresh concern over NNPCL's so petrol buyers a row. Oando, 2 foreign firms shortlisted to buy Trinidad's national refinery. Lagos begins a trial of 2 doctors over patient's death. Nigerians in Lebanon fought federal government over evacuation claim. Stories above. 2027 Obi Kwankwaso alliance proposal will fail, says APC. Federal government lists 7 states for mpox vaccination. And lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, Fubara camp opposes the emergency rule as 3 killed, secretariat raised. We'll take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with a state of emergency talks Rivers as political talks attack councils. Anti-graft war won't be won by technicalities, declares Tinubu. Worries over petrol price as Tinubu deregulates the downstream sector. NAFDAC champions of food labeling standard as workers commence indefinite strike. Police arrest Aregbesola a loyalist for accusing Oyetola of using palliative rice as a birthday gift. Reviving comatose technical education beyond enrollment drive, and that's a news analyst. 80% of Africans unhappy with delivery of democratic rules, says Akin Kekereekun. We take a look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with Tinubu orders the police to end Rivers post-election violence. Right, it says explosions, gunshots at council secretariat. And a quote here, the quotes and I read, says political actors should de-escalate the situation and discourage their supporters from engaging in violent or destructive actions. The judiciary can settle all political disputes, and I think that quote is coming from the president. Lagos House of Assembly suspends Alimosho chairman indefinitely, and the stories above. Council workers seek salary payment from first line charge. Growth in food production will bring down inflation, stabilize exchange rate, says Edu. Only collective efforts can stop corruption, and president affirms. The Supreme Court rules 2024 enhanced justice delivery. Lastly, on the front page of the Nation newspaper, we have police probe stabbing to death of man by sex workers in Lagos. And that's how we can take on the front pages of the papers. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. Alright, welcome back. If you're just joining, still today in the news on Vanguard Live, I am Precious Chukudi. Joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front pages of the papers this morning is Mr. Dayo Akintobi, publisher of Wikipedia Today, Lekki Today, and Ikeja Today. It's good to have you join me this morning.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Good morning to all our viewers.
Yeah. Let's talk about Rivers State. And no fewer than 5 persons were feared dead yesterday following gunfire at different local government council secretariat by thugs. And even the newly sworn in chairmen were chased out of their offices. How do you react to this?
Well, when we were all just basking in the euphoria of the fact that the election was violence-free, there was not a single gunshot, there was not a single person attacked, and we were all excited about the fact that they conducted a violence-free election, even though, of course, there were issues to do with the election as to how it was conducted and all that. But at least it was violence-free. Then what happens? The new chairman gets sworn in. The next day they try and go to the offices, and several of the buildings are razed and people are killed and all kinds of things happening. Now, what precipitated this action? We have to lay at the feet of the Nigerian police. If you remember that the local council secretariats in Rivers State have been sealed for over 3 months behind another controversy when the tenure of the former local government council chairman expired. They refused to leave office. They said they got a court judgment that extended their tenure. They refused to leave. The state governor said, no, your tenure is over, you have to go. So there was a conflict and a face-off at that time that led to the police having to move in and take over the secretariats. So the police have sealed up the secretariats for the last 3 months, and they've been standing guard there. Well, in the aftermath of the recent election, the next day, after the council chairman was sworn in, the IGP, Inspector General, gave an instruction that the police should unseal the secretariats and allow the new chairman to resume office. Well, unseal does not mean abandon protection. But what did the Nigerian police do? They packed up all their stuff and they left. And they said, well, they were following a court order that said that they should not provide security for the elections, and therefore they have no right or no reason to provide security to the new chairman. Well, guess what happened? As soon as the Nigerian police unseal the secretariat and pack up their stuff and go, thugs and miscreants just took over the place. Next thing, everywhere is ablaze. And of course, these are people who are not happy with the outcome of the election. As you well know, the existing governor backed some candidates in a different party, APP, and they won 23 out of the 24 local governments. So party members or River State citizens who are viewed as being sympathetic to former Governor Wike, who are not happy with the outcome of that election, they are alleged to be the ones fomenting all this violence and raising secretariats and maiming and killing people, and it's degenerating into a terrible situation now in Rivers State where it looks like the governor doesn't have control. He came on television and spoke about peace and said he would do everything to maintain peace and harmony in the state, but he doesn't seem to be able to have the authority to order the police, although the president has waded in and told the police to restore calm and law and order. But the governor seemed to not be able to have a handle on what was going on. So it's not a good situation any which way you look at it. But the one thing that continues to strike my mind, I remember that former Governor Wike a few weeks ago said publicly that any governor who messes with his political structure in Rivers State, he will put fire in their state. I don't know if you remember that statement that he said. And there was fire in Rivers yesterday. Right? Simply because the way the election went wasn't to his liking. So there's a saying that a witch cries overnight tonight and a baby dies tomorrow. Who doesn't know that the witch was responsible for the baby's death? If Governor Wike was threatening to put fire in a state, if you mess with his political structure, and Governor Fubara has done an end round around that political structure by moving all these people to APP, which now won all the seats except one, and PDP didn't win any, APC didn't win any. So it's clear, one can easily conclude that this is Governor Wike working behind the scenes to destabilize the state, which is terrible. He's done his 8 years, he's done his own term. He wants to continue to maintain a iron grip on the politics of Rivers State. But he has an assignment in Abuja that he should focus on. And I mean, yeah, okay, so he was responsible for putting the new governor forward. But you put him forward because you believed he would carry on your legacy and he would work for the best benefit of the people of Rivers State. So you should leave him to do his work and you face yours. And I think the majority issue that's causing the problem in Rivers right now is this face-off between ex-Governor Wike and current Governor Fubara. It's a power tussle. And at the end of the day, I think the public sentiment is shifting in the direction of Governor Fubara, because people suddenly see ex-Governor Wike as being overbearing, overreaching, almost even authoritarian to a certain extent.
All right. I mean, Fubara has proven that godfathers do not live forever in this last election. And the popular saying that says when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers, which, in this term is the people that is actually suffering. What's your take on this whole godfatherism thingy?
Well, if you look in the recent past, there's always been friction between Godfather and Godson. Remember Oshiomhole and Obaseki, remember Ambode and Tinubu. Everywhere you look, there's examples all over the place where this has happened, and it just speaks to the fact that perhaps we should review our electoral law and the constitution to allow independent candidates. You see, when we're using a party system, and you have to belong to a party to run, you have to be sponsored by somebody who is already in the party. You can't just walk into a party. If you walk into a party, you can't walk into a party from the ward level and work your way up. But it will take you years and years to go from ward member to ward exco to state exco. Then you start running for elective office. You go from councillor to local council chairman, probably House of Assembly. I know people who've done it. House of Assembly, from there House of Rep, from there Senate, from there, it'll take you decades before you can get anywhere to where you can have the kind of name recognition and the kind of track record to be able to mount a credible campaign to run for any serious office. So you need the backing of a political party. And to get the backing of a political party, you generally need some sort of support from the elders of the party. Perhaps if you're running for a state office, perhaps the person in charge of that state. If you're running for a national office, it'll be somebody in charge of the nation. If you're running for a local council office, it'll be somebody in charge of that local council. You have to have that goodwill from those who are in charge. But look at how it works out. At the end of the day, the godfather still wants to exert influence over the decisions of the godson, and then the godson begins to chafe around the collar when he's thinking that, but look, you've had your time, this is my time, let me do my work, let me do it as I deem fit. So it's always never really, I can't think of, not even really only in Nigeria, I can't really think of many countries in the world where the principal has supported his deputy to take over from him. I can't think of it. So generally, people in power want to handpick their own people. They don't like. That's what caused the rift between Obaseki and Shuaibu. Well, Shuaibu had aspiration and Obaseki had his own person. So this godfatherism thing is an integral part of politics. That there are various reasons. There's issues of continuation of legacy. I can't finish my projects. We had this vision that we shared together. You are best suited to carry this vision forward for me. There's also issues of wanting the person you pick to cover your rear end. You've committed all kinds of atrocities while you were in office and you want protection. Look at what's happening in Kogi now. EFCC would have arrested Yahya Bello a long time ago, if not for the protection given to him by the current governor, Ododo, who Bello sponsored single-handedly for the office. So Bello is getting rewarded for his sponsorship of Ododo because he's getting protection from Ododo to do with, state protection. He's getting it, and that has stymied the FCC's efforts from arresting him. So there is nefarious benefit to godfathers sponsoring their preferred candidates. They stand to gain quite a lot from it, but it's not a comfortable arrangement.